Good morning, everyone. Welcome, members of the media, our distinguished guests and panelists here assembled this morning for the CURE press conference in support of the Second Amendment. This morning, we have speakers lined up. They're going to be commenting on this important issue as it relates to their communities, as it relates to our country, as it relates to the policies and procedures in our nation. This morning, I'm going to speak for our chairman of the board for the Center for Urban Renewal and Education, G. Kenneth Blackwell, who cannot be here this morning, but prepared a statement that I'm going to read for you now with a little help of technology. The Second Amendment is a fundamental right enshrined in that sacred list of liberties in our Constitution that we call the Bill of Rights. It is right alongside the freedom of speech, the freedom of religious faith, the right that no person can ever make you a slave, the right that no state can deprive us of our rights or equal protection of the law, and the right to vote. It is a right of self-defense. In 1791, that right was adopted as the Second Amendment as a right of the people to band together to collectively defend themselves against public violence, meaning government tyranny. In 1868, that right was extended through the 14th Amendment to also defend against government oppression by state or local governments. And by 1791, through 1868 to 2013, it was and is also the right to defend yourself against private violence, the violence perpetrated by criminals. Yes, the framers of the Constitution wanted people to be able to hunt, and that is an essential part of our cultural fabric as a people. It is a rich part of our heritage, part of self-reliance, a way of passing down our values. It also provides precious time to spend time together for fathers and sons, and increasingly mothers and daughters. The right to bear arms is also for competition, for sporting, and is also for collectors. But as the Supreme Court recognized just 5 years ago, it was for the right of self-defense against some future government that would refuse to stand for re-election and would hold on to power by military might, and against lawlessness and heartless folks who would victimize others. That those who founded our nation made this right part of the supreme law of the land, forever trumping every president, Congress, and court that would ever hold office in the United States. That right to protect one's life and liberty is a God-given right. It is a gift from God, not a grant from government. The government does not give us this right, just as the Declaration of Independence makes clear. Government does not give us any of our inalienable rights. Instead, it is the role of government to recognize the rights God has given to each of us, to respect those rights and to secure those rights. That's what the Second Amendment does, and it is an essential right for every American citizen who is law-abiding and peaceable, regardless of skin color, geography, education, or socioeconomic status. It is easy to understand how the Second Amendment relates to the culture of a Norman Rockwell painting of a rural father with his son walking through the woods with shotguns or rifles, hunting ducks or deer. But as important as that cultural heritage is, the core rights protected by the Second Amendment to protect yourself against public and private violence is just as real for Americans of all races and ethnic groups. We thank God that we no longer are in days where we have to fear government violence, where the Second Amendment right to resist a tyrannical government would be the right of a black man in the Deep South in 1870 having to protect himself against a local lynch mob posse, regarding which the local sheriff would look the other way, or worse yet, would sometimes be led by a local sheriff's deputy. But the right against private violence is even more important for so many Black Americans today. A Black man or woman in his or her 20s should be safe and secure in their apartment or going to work. A Black father has a right to protect his family and his home. Or too often, and this is sad because it is harming to many Black children, it is a single mother. She has every right to demand that she be able to protect herself and her family. The only clear equalizer between a striving young mother or grandmother and a full-grown man breaking into her home is a firearm that she knows how to responsibly store and use. I stand with you today in the protection of our Second Amendment rights. Sincerely, Ken Blackwell, Chairman, Board of Directors, Center for Urban Renewal and Education. Thank you.